Hello, world. It's Rick again. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. Um, I'm back for SSSVEDA Day 16, and I think whoever watched what I did yesterday, I kind of should have formally apologized. I was a victim of clickbait. There was a Venture Beat article that came out yesterday. Oh, kind of stalling for a second here. A Venture Beat article that came out yesterday saying that, I guess the title is going to know. That's for me to tell the exact, because the what's actually happening, not exactly what they said, not in the title at least. Okay, here is the title. This is what got me so upset yesterday. It says Google is discontinuing Google Plus Hangouts on Air on September 12th. So September 12th. Pushing users to YouTube Live. Now, if you're not aware of YouTube Live, then there's two options, and this is why it's important to explain this. YouTube Live is a mess. That's the best way to say it. After reading this information, I went and looked at other articles. I figured, well, first I went to YouTube and said, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to do something, because it's less than a month from now, and I'm going to have to find another means of doing videos live, which is problematic because Google Plus has all these options, which I've mentioned more than once. Right there below me, you can see the Project Veda 2016 in my Twitter address. That's a lower third. If you don't know what a lower third is, kind of like what you see on a news broadcast, and you can put relevant data information there. Like I said, Project Veda 2016 is the actual. If you go to Google Plus and you type that in, it is a community that I started. It's a page and a community, but the community I started so that I could display other people's Veda videos and get other people involved in the process of doing Veda for at least for the month of August. If you go to Facebook Live, they don't have this. You can download a third-party app, which costs. So far, I've only seen ones that cost quite a bit of more money than I was planning to spend, where you can use your own use that software, and depending on the software that it is, you can do things like lower thirds and capture screens, which I mentioned before. I can show you, like I could right now. I'm not going to do it, but I could show you the screen of what I'm watching right now, which is an article on VentureBeat. And those two things are, like, for me, pretty critical to be able to do. The lower third gives you a little bit more professional look, even if you're not so professional. But the being able to screen share is pretty much essential to what I plan to do in the future, and what I'm doing right now. It's essential that I be able to screen share. And so I'm all going, oh great, this is bad, because I'm not going to be able to do the screen shares. I'm going to have to figure out another one. So I went over to YouTube and said, okay, well, let me check this out. And I saw, okay, one with Wirecast, that was $297, and this is the encoders, where the software you'll be able to use to actually do some of these other things that you can't do with something like Facebook Live by itself, or Periscope by itself, or Hangouts by itself. Well, I'm not sure about the future of Hangouts, but if you're going live, you want some, you're going to lose all this functionality, or that's what my feeling was going to happen. And so, okay, well, not going to put the 297 into an encoder like, what did I just say? Wirecast. Okay, that wasn't interested in that at the moment. I mean, it may be in the future for me to get Wirecast, but it also meant learning something new. I'm used to Google Plus. I'm used to Hangouts on Air. You do things on there that I'm not going to have to relearn for somebody else. And it's a fairly simple process to use. Like, this is a Google toolbar, what they call it. Let's see. Control room. This is the Hangout toolbox. The toolbox gives you various things that you can do. Which you can do this, which is lower thirds, which lets you title. You have two spots to put things in. So the top part's going to be the larger text, and then the bottom part is the lower. The bottom part is smaller text, and that's where you usually put an address, or you like you can follow me on Twitter at @rickgarza_. So anybody who's watching the video, boom, they can look back to it and say, okay, well, I can follow them there. And of course, you have a little picture there. I just put something in there temporarily for right now, or at least I think it's temporary. You could do something called a custom overlay. Which, I'm sorry. Now I know what a custom overlay is. This, and it just right now it's set to do that automatically whenever I start an open toolbox, which was one of my little kind of, I'm nitpicking, but when I go live, I always have to remember to click on Google Toolbox, or Hangout Toolbox rather, or I'll forget about the lower third, and then I'll go with my entire presentation without the lower third there. There's other things you can do with it. You can adjust volume control. So you can't do that anymore. Comment tracker, which is going to be, okay, that's one of those things that, sorry, I know it's that's one of those things. There's two things, I can't remember what the second one is, but one of the things is, if you have been using Google Hangouts, you won't be able to do comments and use track comments anymore. You'll have to be live, and I'm not sure exactly 100% how this works, but you'll have to be live on YouTube, and then you'll have to have a window open as well showing the comment section, because right now the way Google Plus is, there's no comment section. Well, Hangouts on Air, you can add that, but you have to, it used to be a little simpler process, and I can't think they're closing that part of it, because they're closing that part of it down. You can't really do that right now, but comments would show up on the side. Yeah, comments would show up on the side, and then you could respond to the comments. You see how many people are watching you, and if somebody commented, you could comment back, which was a kind of a process if you wanted to type out a comment, but because then your typing is making quite a bit of noise. But like I said, that's not available. And it's not going to be available there. And there was one other option which I don't use anyway, which also isn't going to be available. They didn't say anything about the lower thirds or the screen share. Those, like I said, those two are essential to me, and I want them to be kept. The other thing is the rest of it is not that much. I mean, mostly it's just having the lower thirds And the screen share is not part of Toolbox. It's a different app or extension. Which, if I can tell you, there's more extensions on here that I haven't used. There's one called Draw. I'm not completely sure what that one is. I assume you can draw on each other's screen. I don't know how well that's going to work with the mouse, but there's multiple ones, like the one for you watch YouTube videos together, so you can sit there and watch. But I don't know what that one's necessarily all that important, because I can do that via screen share. You know, whether maybe it adds a picture-in-picture kind of issue, where you see a smaller picture and then a bigger picture of the other thing that you want to see, or vice versa. But there are other things. Join as the Google Art Project. Don't know what that one is, and it doesn't really explain it well. Google Effects, you can put silly hats on. I think there's a really, really, really bad green screen kind of thing. I don't even want to call it a actual green screen, because it doesn't work very well. Tried it before. Anyway, there's several other extensions you can put on there. Let me go ahead and close that. There's several other extensions you can put on there. I don't even know if you saw what I was even looking at there, because I don't think it was a screen share. So it wasn't on screen share, but it popped up in front of me so that I could see it on the screen. So let's get back to where I was. I'm upset. I'm reading this thing and it says discontinue Google Hangouts on air. Now the catch there is it says discontinue Google Plus Hangouts on air. So they've got a little wiggle room. Well, we didn't say it was going to be discontinued on YouTube. Well, I didn't even know it was on YouTube. They had moved it over. It's been, I don't know how long it's been, but the functionality of Hangouts on Air is on YouTube already, as I mentioned in the description. And actually, I'm using it right now, which is, if you've seen any of my other videos, it doesn't look any different. Okay, other than those two functions, one I don't remember, and the other one that I wish I could find that one now. And the thing about texting, well, I'm going to go ahead and read it. Okay, cool. It said Google today quietly announced that Google Plus Hangouts on Air will no longer be available on September 12th, 4 weeks from now, that was whatever day that was. Today is the 16th, so I don't know what the day is. It'll be a Monday. So Sunday night will be the last time that you can actually use Google Plus to do a Hangout on air. I'm assuming they're going to kill it like at midnight. But that was on Monday. So 4 weeks from Monday. Today's Tuesday. So 4 weeks from Monday, it was going to be. And the rest of the article says, okay, Google's first debut. It talked about it debuting Hangouts on Air and some others, not really all that relevant to to what I'm talking about here. So they said, but here's the but part. Now Google has finally decided to consolidate the two after September 12th. Because, let me backtrack a little bit there. It says Google debuted the YouTube Live, and that's what I'm talking about, Wirecasts and XSplit, which I tried XSplit and it was just nonsense. If you can figure it out, let me know, because XSplit was not working for me at all. And a few others. Wirecast and XSplit were the two that I can think of right now. But then in May 2013, they debuted YouTube Live, which also became gradually, because it wasn't immediately available. There were certain people that got to use Google Plus, Google Hangouts on Air and Hangouts before other people. It was just kind of a small roll up to a small group of people, and then finally it went out to pretty much everybody. I guess everybody. But here's where the decision, go back to the but. It says now Google has finally decided to consolidate the two. After September 12th, you won't be able to schedule a new Hangout on Air via Google Plus. Do it on YouTube. But see, I'm reading into this, and it doesn't say anything about YouTube. You know, it says you have Google Live, which, like I said, I tried to get in there, and it's like, no, that's not true, because it's a mess for me so far. Try other options, see how they work out. Even though I know right now, this is where everything changed when I read other articles. I came down to the end. To be clear, Hangouts on Air will still exist in some form. It just won't be typed. And so that I found like, really, what do you mean some form? The article said Google Hangouts on Air will have I'm gonna say one of go limited, will be available on YouTube with a couple of options removed. And he doesn't go into I don't think he does. No, he doesn't go, I don't remember seeing in the article him going into that. One of the other articles must have. But the other articles said something like, we're more in line with the reality instead of the clickbait. It was Google Hangouts on Air is now moving over to YouTube. Now, if I had seen that article, I'd say, okay, well, I guess I'm going to have to change it over, but it won't be that bad an issue because Hangouts is still available on YouTube. And this ambiguous about it going to be available in some shape or form, because he didn't do enough research on it. When I was ranting, obviously, I hadn't done enough research too. And that's in a nutshell. We're here. This is Google Hangouts on Air via YouTube instead of via Google Plus, which you would already have. It was already complicated procedure anyway. If you go over to, you had to go back to Google Classic to see Hangouts. And I'm going to see if I can get that screen up. Move this over. But you had to go back from the original, because it always continues telling you, let me get back to the screen, it's always telling you, do you want to try the new? I wouldn't say it exactly that way, but it's always there. Let me see if I switch to another of my communities, and I go to Google page, like I'm going to go to the page, and I get meet the new Google Plus, simpler, faster, better. And I don't know if necessarily call it simpler or faster, better, but let's go. So if you went and did that, then the only way to get back to that, because you don't see it, if you go to your left side of your screen and you look at the drop-down menu, it's going to be home, collections, community, profile, people, settings, send feedback, help. That's it. Doesn't even show Hangouts either at all. But if you go back to classic Google Plus, which it still gives you the opportunity, but don't know how long that's going to be, you'll get the drop-down menu that says Google Plus, My Business, Google Plus, Stream, and then farther down is People, Collection, Communities, Events, Hangouts, Stream. You click on Stream, that's your stream. It's one of those things that got complicated where it was like, okay, I can see what the people I've joined, followed in communities, so I'll see those things. Actually, I don't need to get into that, but Go to Hangouts. Click on Hangouts. And then from there, you go to Home. I guess I could show the screenshot of this, but it's not all that. But there's two options. You have Home and then another option for Hangouts on Air. But you have to, like I said, you have to go back to Google Classic. Click on Hangouts, and then click on Hangouts on Air, and then you can do a broadcast. So they already removed it. The Google Classic is the only way to get to that now. It was difficult. I had to do. It took me a while to figure it out, and I said, "Well, I'm keeping it no matter what." It ended up being something I was willing to do until I found out, hey, they're going to get rid of it, which of course they weren't going to get rid of it. And I did say that wasn't in a nutshell. So that meant I was ending on this. At any rate, that's pretty much it. If you watch the other one, panic, Google Hangouts on Air is still going to be available. How long? I don't know. If Google does things, they've removed things completely before. So your best bet is to start looking at other options. You should already be streaming beyond YouTube. Anyway. I mean, there are certainly people, and I was on, whether it was Geeks Live, Geeks Life Live, or Geeks University, which is there are two properties of the same company. Whether they said it there or the other, but Laura Petrucci was saying, hey, there are people on YouTube who rely solely on YouTube. Yeah, but if for whatever reason YouTube was to completely go away, they're going to have to like pick up the pieces, which I thought I was going to have happen with me as far as Google Hangouts on Air, and then start over again. Whereas if you've already started using some other platform, whether you're on Periscope or Facebook Live, which I haven't been doing much of. I did one video on Facebook Live and just imported it over to YouTube. You'll want to do this. You'll want to explore other platforms. So that's why I mentioned Wirecast. I'm contemplating or some other option because I really do want lower thirds and I really do want to be able to capture my screen. I attempted to do that with something else, like I said, that was XSplit, and it didn't work. I got the picture, I got this part, wasn't able to get to trying to do a lower third. When I tried to do a screenshot, I had my mouse and a black screen. Doesn't matter where I was, whether I was on this screen that I'm on right now or the screen over here, didn't matter, didn't work. There's another one, I forget the name of it, that was a suggestion, and that one's still a work in progress as far as I'm concerned. Plus, there was like, I think it's $29 a month for the streaming, and I'm not willing to commit that much either to it because, like I said, it's the work in progress. It's not really doing the things that I wanted it to do, not like Google Hangouts on Air. I mean, to me, in my mind, Google Hangouts on Air is probably one of the best live streaming I'd say app. It's not an app, but it's the best live streaming that I've come across, where you could integrate all the features like the lower thirds and the screen share without putting a huge investment into something else. Whether it's $297 for Wirecast, which I said I don't know whether Wirecast is capable of lower thirds, or you're going to need some other software on top of that, whether it's with XSplit that's not working right, for me at least, or whether it's using something like that other one that I mentioned. They opened the API for YouTube. I'm going on again. I meant to make this short. They opened the API for YouTube. And so all these third-party apps are all coming into play, where the one I was mentioning that's just not working as well as I'd like it to, a little harder to deal with, and more third-party apps. There may be even free third-party apps that will come along that can do this functionality. But right now, Google Plus seems to be the only one. They seem to be the only one that I can do these two things with. If I'm going to go live, I need the screen share, and I like the lower third. If I were going to record it, like a lot of people on YouTube do, then I could go to editing software and boom, there's my screen share inserted into the timeline, and then continue on from there. So it's not that you're not capable of doing stuff. I mean, you see people do it on YouTube all the time. They have animations that they'll be talking to you like live like this, and then they'll show you an animation, which of course that takes time and effort to work on those animations. I'm actually looking at another piece of software, a service. I think that's $9.99 a month. If you want to get beyond a few, like I said, it lets you upload 3 videos a month, and that's it. If you're in the free thing, you get to upload 3 videos a month, and they have to be in there 2 minutes longer. The next video step up, I don't know how many uploads you can get, but it's 5 minutes, which would be plenty of time if you want to just put in some infographics or whatnot. But that's the $9.99 one. I should find if I can remember the name of these things. I've been going through so many different programs and apps, make your head spin. So those are the options for other people. You see these options and people are using it, whether it's like split screen, you see them 2 places. Well, that's video editing. But if you're going to do it live, you're not left with many options. You're not left with many good options. I think Google Plus, if you're going to do this live, this is the direction that you want to go. Like I said earlier, how long it's going to stay that way, or whether they'll integrate it into the Google. I mean, YouTube Live is still in beta, and I'm hoping that they don't lock it on the 12th and say, "Well, we're pulling the plug anyway." But they didn't say that. I mean, from the information I'm saying, it's still saying that, hey, you're here. We're removing 2 of these functionalities because they didn't work too well, and they were cumbersome on Google Plus. But we're keeping these things. So as far as I know, lower thirds like this, the toolbox which lets you make the lower thirds, and the screen share, and there's one called Cameraman. I haven't used it yet, but there's, when I mentioned earlier, these are the ones I've actually done. Like, these are the extensions I've actually added so far. I just haven't used some of them. It's like the control room. It just is one of the extensions. Just lets you turn off on and off microphones or video feed and adjust volume. That's pretty much all that does. Whereas the toolbox lets you do the lower thirds and lets you adjust volume. So it's kind of redundant. I think if there's anything else I want to say before we close out for the day. But I don't think so. I think that explains it all. And like I said, I apologize for that thing. I decided to leave it on there so you could kind of see what the potential issues you can run into if you leave yourself with only one option. Like keeping your eggs in one basket. You know, I always say, don't keep your eggs in one basket. Well, I'm pretty much keeping my eggs in one basket with Google Plus, even though I wasn't using it, hadn't used it in pretty much almost 2 years, maybe a year and a half. And they came back to it, and all of a sudden, oh, great, they're going to get rid of it. Which, like I said, they're not going to get rid of it, not yet. But I would hope, and this will be my ending statement, I would hope that YouTube Live is as in beta, that they're going to do a lot of work to the beta version to make it a lot more user friendly, including keeping things like Google Plus Hangouts On Air has, because these are useful tools. I mean, being able to share a screen is a useful tool. Having the lower third so people can remember, it's going to be more memorable. If you see somebody there and you watch the YouTube, maybe it's been embedded somewhere else and they don't tell you anything, you don't see anything as far as anything you can write down. Oh, okay, I can write down that twitter.com/RickGarza _ and I can follow him on Twitter. Whether it's, I could say it, you can follow me on Twitter at RickGarza _ and then you'll be going, okay, yeah, I can do that. And then the video goes away and you get sidetracked by something and you forget. So you have to either go back to the video and then say, where did I find that? Where it's right here in front where you can actually, in a snap, write it down. So right now, YouTube beta, I wouldn't suggest using it. I know they're not going to like me for saying that, but I really wouldn't suggest using it right now if you're really a novice to this, because it's difficult to use. It's not very user friendly. Whereas Google Plus, Hangouts On Air, user friendly. I mean, I could go into using Google Plus and explain it, and it wouldn't take you that long to understand it. It doesn't take that long to get the lower thirds going. It doesn't take that long to be able to use the screen share, even if you're running multiple screens. It's a little trickier when you have multiple screens because you see two identical, and one says screen 2 and then the other one's something else, but it's the same thing, and you want to use your second screen. Well, in this case, I did. But it's not user friendly. That's the main point I'm trying to get about YouTube Live. It's not very user friendly yet. I'm hoping it is. I mean, for Facebook, it's not that difficult for them. When you have Facebook Live, you just hold on to your camera, selfie style, or you can put it on a tripod, and you're broadcasting, but you're not doing anything else. You're not able to. Only later you can post edit to put other stuff in there, like, well, I'm looking at this, but you can't see it. What I'll do is I'll edit it all together, and you'll get a little video later. Where right now, boom, I can do a screen share. I can show you whatever I'm looking at on the other screen. Boom, it's done, taken care of. So that's why the ease of using Google Hangouts On Air is so good to have. And I'm glad that they're still having it. Like after the 12th, I don't know. I'm not going to say anything about what happens after the 12th. I mean, from what I've been reading, it seems like, yes, they're keeping that part. And this, what I'm doing right now, is going to stick around for a certain amount of time. It won't be here forever. It eventually, that part will be integrated into the Google Live, into Facebook Live, but then that makes me puzzled, because why are they offering you Wirecast and all these options when Google Plus is right there? I mean, the Hangouts On Air is right there for you to use. So that's why I get kind of hesitant at saying it's going to be there permanently or even for a long period of time, because of all those other options are going to give you, like a Wirecast and XSplit and 2 or 3 others. But I shake my head because I don't understand sometimes how these businesses make these decisions. I won't go back too far into it, but the Hangouts On Air is going to go to, eventually it's going to become an enterprise situation, which will probably be a pay to use service. Which, does that mean that Hangouts On Air or Google Live won't have access to screen sharing and lower thirds and other options? Who knows? But right now, it's available. It's still available to you. If you've been doing Veda, try doing one live. I mean, you can see it's not so difficult that you can't do it. It's a little bit more scary because you don't get the opportunity to edit anything. And so you just see, wow, what I've been doing. This is my 16th video. At 17, that was a Facebook Live video. But here I am live. I mean, I can do this. Well, you can at least give it a try. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe. And I will see you for Project Veda Day 17 tomorrow. So long.